book. 2. Traditional Jing Qishan Theory. 1. The Jing Qishan Life Forms. Jing Qishan theory is always on the top of the traditional Chinese medicine books. But it is another area that confused a lot of people in the history. First of all, simply and clearly put, Jing refers to the human body, the bioorganic life forms, Qi refers to the human force life form, Shen refers to the mental consciousness, spirit life form. Man has 3 life forms. It is the combination of 3 life forms that makes a living man. This is a very important statement I have to make in front of the following explanations before you are confused. This is a big picture. What I mean confusing is not only for the Old and New English versions. It is mainly within China, in the history. Among the medicine, Taoism and common sense, Jing Qishan have many different definition and explanation. I will list them as follows and do some analysis. Jing, in the modern textbook it is simply translated as essence. Traditionally, in some books is said to be the sperm or the spirit in the core of sperm. Sometimes it is described as the flesh, blood, marrow, or even hormone liquid. Sometimes it refers to the nutrient that people absorbed from the food to support their life going on. It is said that the reproductive system stores innate Jing, but the nutrient is post-birth or post-nature Jing. Mostly these traditional books would say, as a summary, everything in your body is a treasure to your life, they are all Jing. Jing means treasure. Innate Jing, innate Qi, innate Shen. In the traditional Chinese medicine books the prefix innate is used very often. It is not just the expression of having something before you were born and carrying something with you when you were born, this innate also means something with mysteriously power, precious treasure, and spiritual. Therefore, the Jing here as bioorganic or as food supply in general are not important. The key Taoists want to make in this type of theory and people want to know is really the innate Jing with mysterious spiritual power. For example, the innate Jing stored in the human reproductive system is like that. We all know that man produces sperm and woman produces egg, but these are pros-Jing, not innate. Biosperm plus bioegg makes a biobaby, that is materials plus materials equal to materials scientifically. However, where is the life coming from? What makes or gives the baby a human life? Without life, it is only a piece of meat. Therefore, this Jing Qishan theory explains that human beings have an innate Jing when they are produced and give this Jing to the next generation in the reproductive process. This innate Jing that produces life is not the biosperm itself, it is something mysterious and spiritual in the sperm. So that when a baby gets his life from this mysterious innate Jing he carries on in his reproductive system and gives to the next generation. This does not seem scientific, but it is still more scientific than to believe it is God who gives your soul, at least I will refer it as an unproved hypothesis. This theory has not just satisfied with this life-born idea, it furthermore makes an important point that man should not do sex too often. The emperors and kings have too many women and wasting too much of their innate Jing, therefore they mostly live a short life. Save the innate Jing to make you healthy. Exercise to transform innate Jing into innate Qi can make you long life. Qi. In the traditional medical books there are 2 types of Qi, one is the right Qi that is the self-healing force or the internal force of immunity, one is the bad Qi which is the cause of illness and that can be produced inside the body or invaded into your body from the outside. Qi is some kind of metaphysics energy type inner human force but not physical energy, not physiological immunity system by itself. The bad Qi is not virus or bacteria. In this description, you need to understand the concept of human internal cause of illness. The modern knowledge says it is the virus and bacteria made you sick. It is right but not complete. The invasion of virus and bacteria is the necessary external cause, but if you do not have internal weakness, you would not be affected. When a flu virus covers an area, not everyone live there will be all sick, only those who are weak would be sick. And once some people are infected they cannot be cured by external drugs, because antibiotics does not kill virus. To recover from the cold you still need your internal system to against the virus. The drugs we are using to prevent or fix virus flu are not direct external drugs, while they are used to strengthen our internal immunity system. For the philosophy of internal and external causes, apparently the traditional Chinese medicine is the internalism. You can make up the right Qi as the modern terminologies of immunity, white blood cells, self-healing power etc., but it is not true. It is the inner factor which helps and enhances these immunities. The Chinese medicine emphasizes on the internal cause to avoid diseases and self-recover diseases. Internalism does not deny external cause, but in order to against external cause, it relies more on the internal power. If you are a deep believer of Western medicine, you do believe in antibiotics' external effect, and I do believe its capability to cure the bacteria infections but not virus. And what is the external cause of cancer, and what external drug can kill cancer? And how many % of cancer patients are cured by external surgery? I am not going to answer or resolve these issues, just explain how you should understand the internal cause, e.g. right qi and bad qi. The Taoist books on the other hand say qi is some mysterious human body internal force, and there are two types of qi. One is innate qi that is carried with a human by birth, one is post-birth or post-nature qi that is generated in life. The Taoists insist that the innate qi is the key of long life and self-healing practice, meaning in such exercise to wake up the hidden or dormant innate qi could make humans stronger. The Buddhist practitioners have also recognized such innate qi, called it kundalini or psychic heat, which is well known in the yoga world. The Taoist innate and post-qi both belong to the right qi in terms of Chinese medicine. Kundalini is inner potential power, which is the same as innate qi. It is said that when you have awakened kundalini, your self-healing power becomes enormous. Both practices enhance the right qi on purposely so to against the bad qi to prevent diseases as the answer to the above question of how to use your internal cause to against diseases. However, both Taoists and Buddhists are not satisfied with just the medical solutions, they are trying to make more out of it, to make innate qi as a special or even supernatural human force. This is not crazy. Chinese Kung Fu or Wushu is a good example. Shaolin and Taiji Kung Fu are very famous in the world now. When you practice Kung Fu, your masters always tell you to exercise qi, use qi to do the combat fighting instead of using muscle force. The so-called Kung Fu in Chinese actually means the exercise of inner qi. It is an exercise and the result of such exercise. If inner qi is produced, you will have superpower, much more than the natural people. This kind of supernatural is in terms of the text meaning, beyond nature. It does not mean a vampire power. You don't have to be a vampire, for you only need to exercise Kung Fu. Note, I have noticed some people in the 1980s were trying to relate qi into physics and trying to use Karl Marx materialism to explain it as material, and some even tried to use quantum physics to make it up as some kind of parcels in the universe like the ancient ether theory. Some 1990s Chinese medicine books have defined qi as essence materials of human body because the Chinese universities have to worship Marxism. So just never mind about these new concepts. You should make it as a real science subject to do some serious physical and chemical experimental research to prove qi as materials, if you can't, so just leave it alone with the Taoist metaphysics immaterialism philosophy. You cannot use the modern science knowledge to force a traditional idea into some man-made science definition without experimental proofs. It is ridiculous and it does not help people to understand Chinese medicine, instead it damages the Chinese medicine. This paragraph is not the major content in this qi section, but I think I have to mention it because there are many noises around this area. With this clarification, we just move on and will not waste time here to do these useless arguments. Qi is the internal cause of health. Qi is the human inner force. The third point and most important point of all is qi can be transformed into spirit. This is the most important idea Taoists wants to tell, and that is Shun. Shun is mentioned in various books as spirit, mind, mental, consciousness, subconscious, thought, soul, etc. By all means, it is immaterial and non-physical state. It is not the material brain that the brain is in Jing category. It is also different from the Western religion or philosophy. The Chinese do not specially talk about soul, only the Buddhism believers believe that the soul can be in reincarnation. Most of the Chinese refer Shin to spirit. This spirit is neither Holy Spirit nor supernatural ghost spirit. It is the nature of an individual human being in terms of his motion, emotion, character, etc. It is the force of mind, the courage, intelligence, wisdom, etc. When they are talking about the body and the spirit as a pair of life form of human beings, it is more related to physiology and psychology pairing. In the Chinese medicine, the illness such as depression, anxiety, fear, etc. are called spirit disease simply. It is only in the modern time they started to name them one by one in its psychological terminology. Furthermore, the Chinese medicine often related the mental diseases to the physical diseases. For example, they say anger hurts your liver, and in the other hand, liver illness people are often showing a bad temper. Medically, we can give many examples of mental spirit affecting body illness, but the importance is to use this idea to prevent illness. To have a happy life, a good spirit is the best way to avoid diseases. Sleep well, do not to be aggressive or offensive, humble, sit back and calm, rest yourselves and do not go to your limit of capability are always the advice among ordinary people. Calm Shin in Chinese mean all that. So Shin or spirit is mostly used like this. As we have discussed in the previous chapter, soul or Hun is the determination and volition of mind. Shin is very often represents Hun in the literature. We can also relate Shin to soul, but it is the Chinese medicine's soul. So that, the Jing Qi Shin separate description is as the above and it looks very complicated. But if you put the big picture of the three lifeform concept in mind, this complication can be resolved nicely. The complexity is actually the more in-depth knowledge to you than more confusing. Jing Qi Shin relationship. The important concept is not the definition, it is the relationship among them. Jing, Qi, Shin are not three isolated and independent items or factors. And they can be transformed from each other and to each other. Meaning, you cannot really define specially for Jing alone or Qi alone. The transformation between them is understandable. It is known that mental and physical are totally related, and a mental disease can cause a physical disease and vice versa. Despite its profound or spiritual level of theory, I shall explain this type of transformation in a very normal way. When your body is strong and in a good shape, you can feel you are very energetic to run, to jump and to fight, and also you have a good spirit to think, to argue, to create. Rich Jing is transformed to strengthen Qi and Shen. And if you are good spirit, meaning nothing to worry, always happy, then you can eat more, absorb more and easy to do physical exercise to become good athletic. Good spirit Shen is transformed to enhance Jing and Qi. When you do more physical exercise to increase your power, you will have better body health and mental health. Strong Qi is transformed to enhance Jing and Shen. This type of transformation is not about material transform into immaterial or chemical/physical reaction. It is the living human state transformation. You should always not relate to the physics and chemistry and think about those dead materials and reaction. It is to say to convert the body essence into human internal force or inner force and then to be converted into spirit power. In another word, if you are powerful, you must be powerful of biobody, Qi force, and spirit, three in all. Very powerful body with stupid mind or scared mind doesn't mean you are a strong man. A wise and intellect mind with a weak body with no inner force to walk out of your front door doesn't mean you have a good spirit. This above explanation is very easy to understand. And it is an excellent advice for health. So to understand Jing Qi Shin in this angle is easier from the starting point of view, and based on this, we can go further and deeper into the innate nature of Jing Qi Shin, the profound concept, especially innate Qi and innate Shin. In the traditional books they are called I Qi and Yuan Shen. 2. The innate I Qi and Yuan Shen. I Qi is the initial force source of life and Yuan Shen is the original core or soul of human mind. Both come in the beginning of a human life formulation and ends in the end of life. When a sperm meets an egg, some magic happens. Bioorganic cells suddenly have a life. It is said in the traditional books that at this moment it has the inner force source and the core of mind, I Qi and Yuan Shen, to support this magic life. Some readers might want to ask that where did they come from? This is as good as asking that where did human life come from, and I have no answer to this. So if you believe in God, they are given by God. If you believe in Buddhism, they come from reincarnation. And if you believe in Taoism, they come from some mysterious place in the deep universe. So, if you believe in nothing, then they come from the air with the wing. We really do not care about this issue. Ancient Taoists did not want to touch this issue about where is life coming from and where it is going to, because it does not help for the issue they care. The only thing they care is how do we live better and live longer to take a good care of our life. Just keep in mind that the initial life needs and has the support of I Qi and Yuan Shen before the baby is born, and do not care where do they come from. It is not the end of story, it is just the beginning. The Chinese ancient medicine book says, this innate qi is not only with the fetus before it is born and is born with the infant and supports the child growing up to become an adult. It is said that when the age of a man is 2 times 8 equal to 16 and a woman is 2 times 7 equal to 14, they start to have sexual capabilities and ready to generate the next generation. And this capability is innate, that it is given by the I Qi. And when they are getting older and older, the innate I Qi is used up for their growth and maturity, until man is 7 times 8 equal to 56 and woman is 7 times 7 equals 49, they have almost used up all of the remained innate qi and step into climacterium. When man is 8 times 8 equal to 64 and women is 8 times 7 equal to 56, the climacterium period finally finished, and that means the innate qi is totally dry up, they are in the old and rotten age. Therefore, it is said that the innate I Qi is the life source. It cannot be recreated by taking food or medicine. People can still live several decades after this, but there is normally no reproduction and the spirit or inner force is totally different from before, unless you can keep your I Qi for longer time, and it is possible. If you take a good care of your life by following the Chinese medicine theory, it is possible to save the use of I Qi and prolong the mentioned period for some years or even decades more. That is why some people in their 70s or even 80s can still reproduce and is healthy as a youth. In contrast, if one is taking a bad living style or he is sick very often in his life, he would speed the usage of his precious innate qi and shorten his life like the ancient emperors. Even though they are rich and with dictator power, but they have hundreds of wives and drink too much eating unhealthy food so that they use too much I Qi in a short period of time and dry up before the set age. Therefore most of them actually live a shorter life than the usual people. Now let's hold on here for a moment of thinking to digest this idea. A piece of qi comes with the human life and stay with him or her in the whole life and used up during the lifetime. Therefore it is called innate, and therefore it must have another piece of qi that is not innate, not before born, it is the postborn qi. The post-qi is generated by the life activities, such as food absorption and exercise etc., to support a human being's daily activities. In normal circumstances they do not combine to be one qi. The innate qi use up means it slowly becomes post-qi, while post-qi cannot become innate qi to make it up. So burned out is burned out, just like a candle. Therefore one way to prolong the life is to save the innate qi, use up it carefully and slowly, and this is the lifestyle, food, exercise, mindset, immunity of reducing the illness etc. Such things that the traditional Chinese medicine books always teach and the elderly people always murmured to their kids and grandchildren, and the youth have never wanted to listen. Another way is the Taoists' way, they are trying to enhance or create more innate qi for endless using. This is the creativity. Though the medical book says that post-qi cannot be converted into innate qi, it is for the normal people. But the Taoists believe they are not normal. This not-so-normal group of people in the past several thousand years did created a number of practice methods for their own exercises, and some of them have proven to be useful or somewhat useful. I will fully discuss these practices in part 2 of this book, but this paragraph is very important theoretically and philosophically. To understand so far as I have said is the basic knowledge to conduct those exercises later on. If you don't know the theory here, those exercises is just as good as some sports to you physically, and if you really understand the theory then the exercises helps for boosting the qi. This is the know-how issue that is so important for the practice. To keep in mind at this stage that the so-called qi exercise or self-training it meant to I qi, the innate qi, not to the postborn qi. Certainly it is also good for post-qi, and also in the recent history since Ming Dynasty some practitioners started to switch their attention to the postborn qi and jing exercise, but that is not the original purpose of Taoists in the early days for innate qi transformation. 3. Yuanqin and Shushan. The soul of mind is Yuanqin. Does a preborn baby have a mind? I don't know, ask the baby. But what I know from the traditional books is the postborn baby has 2 shins in one mind. One is called Yuanqin and one called Shushan. The fourth comes at the starting moment of life generation, and the latter is by growing naturally and by learning with experiences. A human Yuanqin has the human nature, so it is not a pig mind or a dog mind. It must be a human mind at the very beginning. Yuanqin for a human is the key differentiation to other animals. Animals can have a mind, consciousness, emotion of anger and fear and so on, that is the same as a human. But only human has human Yuanqin, only dog has dog Yuanqin, definitely. Each kind Yuanqin has the kind of animal's innate nature from the very beginning, so that's why we call Yuanqin as innate natureshin and call Shirshin as post-nature. Not only differ from animals, each individual is different and with a different personality, and this is not heredity, it is Yuanqin nature. Different person has different personality, different consciousness, subconscious, and emotion. This is partially from the heredity and partially developed from the individual experiences. But even brothers with the same heredity and living in the same family with the same experiences are different in terms of personality. So beyond the human heredity nature, the higher level nature of such an individual comes from Yuanqin. There is no explanation of what the so-called higher level nature is. It is a statement in the traditional books. The only explanation of some wise man told us is, you will understand in the exercise. So we shall discuss this in the part 2. Do not refer to the subconscious or the alike. Also, Yuanqin is not a DNA or the type. It does not have any memory passed down from your parents or ancestors. It is just pure nature. The famous psychologist Carl Jung has studied a Taoism book called The Secret of the Golden Flower, translated by his early friend Richard Wilhelm. In this book, the Yuanqin and Shirshin are fully described and first introduced to the Western readers. Dr. Jung then invented a collective unconscious based on both Sigmund Freud's unconscious and Taoism Yuanqin concepts. His collective unconscious concept is not fully recognized by the psychology world, and also by reading his textbook, I do not think it is the Yuanqin that is described in the original Chinese language book of Golden Flower. In this book, the first definition of Yuanqin is that the soul resides in Yuanqin, which Dr. Jung had failed to explain. Though I am not going to compare them here, but indeed it is a very good reference. It is the first introduction in the West, and also Dr. Jung is famous, much more famous than I am in any ways. The differentiation of human and animals and the collective unconscious mentioned in the above are really not very important. It is just to let the readers have more understanding of what is what. The important philosophy is as follows. Shirshin covered Yuanqin more and more during the human growing up and getting older, and eventually you lost your Yuanqin's human nature, becomes a puppet of the society. We should purposely uncover our Yuanqin by some meditation exercise to restore our innate nature, in that process to enhance our Ichi Shin and Qi transformation here. If you can uncover your Yuanqin and come back to your nature, then you can have more nature Qi. That's the answer to the previous chapter, that how Taoists to create their natural Qi. This part is the most important part and the key of the two shins. Shirshin is by growing and by learning. Taoists think it is a bad thing, but the parents, teachers, bosses and governors think it is a good thing. The parents want you to grow up as a good person and teachers want you to be an ethical and knowledge person. The Chinese boss says communism is the best and the American governor wants you to fight for democracy. You might think by your own that the best thing for me is to have money, good food, the pretty girlfriend. So when all of these ideas have come in and fully occupied your mind, you become an adult and you lost your innocence nature. If by then you can handle all these ideas well and live and work with other people happily, you are a normal adult. If you cannot handle them well and confused and depressed by all the contradiction of these ideas and eventually gone crazy, then you become a madman. If you can sort them all out and create your own idea, and use your own idea to lead and govern all of the others' ideas in your consciousness and become very conscious of your own every day, then, congratulations, you become a philosopher. If you can forget all of these filled up ideas and show up your Yuanqin and only your Yuanqin, then, you become a Buddha, or in Chinese you become an awakened Taoist. This is the philosophy the traditional books wanted to tell you. 4. Soul, spirit, and supernatural. In the previous chapter, I have said philosophically this soul is not that soul and the spirit it not the supernatural thing, and they are all immaterial. In this Jing Qi Shin chapter we have to bring it up again and going deeper. Jing is material, Qi is not, but somehow arguable, and Shin is definitely not. Here the words soul and spirit in Chinese ancient books have occurred all over the places, not only in medicine books. They are before Jesus' time or even Moses' time. It is a well-accepted concept of life. And there have been no such thing as creationism and atheistic and their conflicts in the history, so that I hope the materialism and spiritualism fighting should not affect our discussion of Chinese tradition issue. Yuanqin is the soul and spirit state, and as we mentioned above, it is the individual human innate nature starts at the beginning moment of life. Shushan has the property of consciousness and subconscious and all of other psychology subjects. All of the psychology discussions are within Shushan. Meaning Yangshan is beyond the psychology world in philosophy level or layer. In the Chinese culture or tradition, the so-called supernatural means something beyond reach or control by human beings, such as how to make people fly as a bird in the sky, how to use human power to stop the floodwater or forest fire, how to control thunderstorm or tornado, how to communicate with the animus or make the rice or fruit grow faster, especially how to make people long life. There are no such thing as angel, demon, and vampire, the typical supernatural things in the West culture or religion. The Chinese gods are somehow like officials, for example the gods of the village, city, and the gods of mountain and river, gods of wing and rain, etc. They worship their ancestors and war hero as their protection gods. The spiritual or soul is not related to God or gods and obey a lord. Here the spiritual concept means the human should have a good spirit, strong spirit, and to use his own spiritual power to do their supernatural things mentioned above. It is the human spirit, their own human spirit, to serve for themselves on their own purposes. It is not to pray for a god or gods to give them spiritual power or sold their soul to the devil to trade for supernatural power. Rain is nature. If you can control the rain and it rain to a dry field, you have the supernatural power. If you pray the Lord and beg gods or ghosts to make it rain for you, that we do not consider as supernatural, it is just borrow the power from the others. Supernatural or not is only that it is the power belong to you or not. 5. Mental or physical, spirit or body.